Welcome to the next lecture in electrical machines. We were discussing synchronous motor, and in the last lecture we discussed the effect of increased load with varying excitations. So here we are going to change the excitation whereas the load is remained constant. In the previous lecture we changed the load and kept the excitation constant. So we'll start our discussion from normal excitation. Normal excitation means the induced EMF EB, that is the back EMF, is equal to the supply voltage V, and the condition will be the unity power factor condition. So now excitation will decrease. So from the normal excitation, we will decrease the excitation and try to understand the dynamics of the synchronous motor. So since it is at unity power factor condition, the voltage and the current are in phase with each other, and the resultant EMF ER is at 90 degree with respect to V, because the value of RA is very less than XS, that is the synchronous reactance. Now when the excitation is decreased, what happens? So excitation decrease, it means that the EMF EB is reduced to a new value of EMF, that is EB1. So EB, which was the back EMF under the normal excitation case, has now reduced to a new value, that is EB1, keeping the value of the torque angle or the coupling angle alpha 1 to be the same. So whatever the value of alpha 1 was at normal excitation, the same value of alpha 1 is there, because we have kept the load constant. So we are not changing the load. It means the alpha will not change. Now the resultant EMF ER1 will cause the lagging current IA1. So current which was in phase with voltage, now a new value of the current IA1 will come, which will lag the voltage by an angle of phi 1. So there will be a lagging power factor. Even we see that the magnitude of the current for the two cases, that is the previous case when the excitation was normal IA and the excitation IA1, both are little bit different, that is IA1 is little bit more than IA. It is incapable for carrying the constant load, as the power, that is VIA1 cos phi, is less than VIA. So this is the power, initial power, and this is the power for the first case. So the power when the excitation has decreased is less than the power for the previous case, that is the normal excitation. So it will not be able to derive the load. Even the current has increased, but the power is not sufficient to derive the load. Hence, it is necessary to increase the value of the coupling angle alpha 1 to a new value of alpha 2. So what we will be doing is that the alpha 1 which was less will be increased to alpha 2. This will increase the value of the back EMF EB1 to a new value of EB2. So EB1 will increase to EB2. So we have increased the back EMF. This will increase the resultant voltage, that is ER1 will increase to ER2. So ER1, which was the first case, will has increased to ER2, and this will increase the current IA to IA2. So the current, so here 1 will be there, so IA1 will increase to IA2. So IA2 is more than IA1. So what has happened with that? The new power VIA2 cos phi 2 will meet the constant load demand for the load. So the new power, that is the product of voltage into current into the new power factor, will meet the constant load demand. So in this way, when the excitation has changed from normal excitation to the excitation decreased, and we have started our discussion from the unity power factor condition, a series of events has taken place to meet the constant load demand with a new current, that is IA2, and a new power factor angle cos phi 2. But what has happened if the excitation is increased? So when the excitation is increased, we will discuss. So this will increase the value of EB1 at original alpha 1. So keeping the value of alpha 1 to be constant, what we are going to do is we are going to increase the value of EB1 from the original case EB. So ER1, that is the resultant EMF ER1, so in this case we cause a leading current IA1 to flow whose in phase component is larger than the current IA. So when we compare to the current IA, if we resolve the component of the current IA1 to the in phase component, it will be more than the value of IA. So it means that armature develop more power than the load requirement. So armature is developing more power, which is beneficial. So load angle will decrease now because the power has increased. So alpha 1 will decrease to alpha 2. So alpha 1 will change to alpha 2 and it will decrease. This will decrease the resultant EMF ER1 to ER2. So ER1, which was the resultant EMF, has now decreased to a new value ER2. Consequently, there is a decrease from the current IA1 to IA2. So the value of the current IA1 will decrease to a new value, that is IA2. So this IA2 is less than IA1. If we resolve this in phase component, we'll get the value of IA, which is equal to IA2 cos phi 2 is equal to IA. So in phase component of the current, new component of the current IA2 is equal to the original value of the current IA. So armature will develop sufficient power to carry the constant load. Now the power requirement for the excitation increase case will be sufficient when to keep the load constant and it will meet the load requirement. So the conclusion from this discussion is variation in excitation of a synchronous motor running with a given load produce variation in its load angle only. It means that if we are varying the excitation for a synchronous motor when the load is constant, that is a given load, although the current is changing, but finally it is the load angle which is producing the variation to meet the load requirement. So last lecture and this lecture we have differentiated how the excitation plays a role when the load is constant or when the load is varying, how the excitation plays a role. So these two lectures are simultaneous to understand the dynamics of the synchronous motor. Thank you for now. See you in the next lecture.